Welcome to this explainer. Today we're looking at a totally fascinating and honestly incredibly common paradox. Think about the highly driven, successful people you know, the ones who, by all objective measures, have completely made it, right? Yet, internally, they feel like they're constantly running on empty, like they're just one tiny misstep away from losing the whole shebang. If you've ever finally achieved a massive goal but immediately felt this heavy dread instead of sweet relief, well, you are in exactly the right place. Okay, let's dive into this. Today, we're going to cover the scarcity mindset paradox, your brain on scarcity, the autonomic ladder, somatic reset exercises, and finally, long-term recovery steps. We're going straight from the heavy neurobiology of scarcity right into highly actionable physical recovery tools. So Section 1, the scarcity mindset paradox, success versus survival. Before we get into why you might feel broke when you absolutely aren't, I really want to validate something for you. The traits that actually got you to where you are, that intense hypervigilance, that relentless work ethic, that magic ability to stretch a dollar and anticipate literally every crisis, those are superpowers. They really are. They kept you safe, they helped you survive. But unfortunately, keeping them running on high alert comes with a very steep invisible tax. Let's look at a story from our sources about a woman named Vivian. Vivian is highly successful, but she drives to work on a quarter tank of gas. Why? Not because she can't afford to fill it up, she has a massive net worth. But to her, stopping to fill up just feels wasteful. It feels inefficient. So she runs it low and lower and lower until suddenly she's broken down on the side of the highway 40 minutes before a huge board meeting. Vivian's story perfectly illustrates how a scarcity mindset hides right beneath objective success. The resources are literally sitting right there, but her brain just refuses to see them. A lot of folks tend to confuse a scarcity mindset with situational financial anxiety, but they are completely different beasts. Situational anxiety happens when you actually lack funds, right? And when you finally get paid, boom, the anxiety goes away. But a scarcity mindset, that's a deeply encoded threat response. It's usually rooted in childhood unpredictability or deprivation. It's a nervous system pattern. What that means is earning a six-figure salary or landing that massive client won't automatically turn off your body's survival alarm. Your bank account updated, sure, but your nervous system didn't get the memo. Let's look at how this actually plays out day to day. You might recognize triggers like hoarding your savings while totally refusing to spend on basic everyday needs, or maybe avoiding your bank accounts altogether out of pure dread, or even chronic workaholism, where you literally refuse to delegate a single task. These behaviors are tied to chronic insecurity, a deep-seated shame, and treating every single opportunity like it's a finite resource, like it's the absolute last one you'll ever get. The big takeaway here? These aren't character flaws. You aren't just bad with money. This is a body-level strategy your nervous system uses to manage a world it still fully believes is wildly unpredictable. Moving on to Section 2, your brain on scarcity, the neurobiology. You really need to look at the neurobiology here to prove that this not enough feeling is a physiological state. It's not just a bad attitude or a lack of gratitude that you can somehow fix by staring at a vision board. So the crucial point is what researchers call the bandwidth tax. When your brain perceives scarcity, even if it's just a perceived threat and not reality, it gets hijacked. Scarcity literally narrows your cognitive focus. It crowds out rational thought and completely locks you into threat detection mode. And if this is rooted in childhood trauma, well, this bandwidth tax is operating continuously in the background of your life. It's just draining your energy and impairing your judgment 24/7. I want you to really absorb this quote from the source material. You can't think your way out of a survival response. This is the ultimate body over mind reality. If your nervous system is sounding a 5-alarm fire, screaming that you're in imminent danger of losing everything, standing in front of a mirror and repeating cognitive affirmations like, I am abundant, is going to fail. Hard. Your body simply doesn't believe your words. Which brings us to Section 3, the autonomic ladder, polyvagal theory. And this brilliantly illustrates what's going on. I want you to imagine your nervous system as a ladder. At the very top, you have the ventral vagal state. This is where you feel safe, connected, and truly abundant. But when stress hits, you drop down a rung into the sympathetic state. That's your classic fight or flight zone, where all that anxiety and workaholism live. And if the stress gets too overwhelming, you drop all the way down to the bottom rung, the dorsal vagal state. This is total collapse, freeze, complete shutdown. Tied directly to this ladder is the concept of the window of tolerance, developed by Dr. Dan Siegel. This window is basically your optimal zone. When you're in it, you can handle everyday stress, manage your emotions, and actually thrive. But here's the catch. Childhood trauma and chronic scarcity severely shrink this window. When your window is tiny, even a super minor trigger, like checking a perfectly healthy bank balance, can violently push you right out of your optimal zone and send you tumbling straight down the autonomic ladder. When you get pushed out of that window, you generally land in one of two places. First is hyperarousal. That's that jittery, panicked, workaholic state. Your body just wants to run or fight. On the flip side is hypoarousal, which is when you just zone out, disconnect, and feel completely numb or frozen. Ask yourself right now, which of these is your default scarcity state? Do you panic and overwork, or do you freeze and avoid? Let's get into the solutions. Section 4, Somatic Reset Exercises, Body-Based Healing. Identifying your state is absolutely the first step. Because scarcity lives in the physical body, the cure must also be physical. So why somatic exercises? Well, to truly reset, we have to slow things down. Somatic exercises work because they completely bypass all those cognitive blocks. Instead of trying to mentally convince your brain that you're safe, you use interoception, feeling your body from the inside out, to manually override the brain's faulty threat signals. By doing this in your daily life, you literally discharge that high level of nervous system arousal. Basically, we're using the vagus nerve as a biological brake pedal. One of the absolute most powerful ways to hit that brake pedal is the 4-7-8 breathing technique. Here's how it goes. You inhale deeply through your nose for 4 seconds, then you hold that breath for 7 seconds, and finally, you exhale slowly through your mouth for 8 seconds. That third step, that extra long 8-second exhale, is the biological switch. By making your exhale twice as long as your inhale, you are physically forcing your body out of that sympathetic fight or flight state and pulling it right back up the ladder into rest and digest. But hey, breathing isn't the only way. Our sources outline some incredibly potent vagus nerve hacks for immediate relief. You can splash cold water on your face, which triggers the mammalian dive reflex. You can hum or vigorously gargle water to vibrate your vocal cords. You can even give yourself an ear massage right in the upper hollow part, or tap around your collarbone. Now look, I know vigorously gargling water or aggressively rubbing your ears at your office desk might look a little crazy to your coworkers, but I promise you, these are deeply science-backed micro-habits. They directly stimulate that vagus nerve and literally force your body to chill out in under 2 minutes. Let's move on and see how this builds. Because to make this work, your somatic toolkit has to match the exact state you're stuck in. If you're stuck in dorsal shutdown, meaning you feel frozen, numb, and totally exhausted, you need up-regulating tools. You need gentle movement, a little play, or some cold water to wake your system up. Conversely, if you're stuck in sympathetic panic, feeling super jittery and anxious, you need down-regulating tools. Things like deep breathing and grounding exercises to bring that chaotic energy down. You absolutely have to match the tool to the state. And finally, Section 5, Long-Term Recovery Steps. Finding lasting sufficiency. Now, immediate hacks are amazing for putting out fires, right? But how do we permanently move the needle from a life of constant scarcity to a life of lasting sufficiency? The answer is what experts call pattern resilience training. This is all about intentionally giving your nervous system repeated, safe experiences of having enough. Think back to Vivian. For her, it means practicing filling the gas tank before it's completely empty, literally teaching her body that it's safe to have resources. It means setting a calm tone in the morning to lower cortisol instead of instantly grabbing a phone to check emails in a panic. It means actively distinguishing the fear you feel right now in the present from the very real memory of deprivation in your past. You are, step by step, training your nervous system to finally believe that the emergency is over. I want to read this quote from the source material because it really captures the entire heart of this explainer. The goal of nervous system regulation is to learn how to climb back up the ladder toward the ventral vagal state where we can heal, connect, and thrive. I want you to remember that rewiring decades of childhood programming, it's a gradual, courageous climb. You will fall down the ladder sometimes, for sure, and that is perfectly okay. The goal is simply knowing how to climb back up. So I want to leave you with this final provocative thought. You have already built an incredibly impressive life using a nervous system that was calibrated to scarcity and running purely on fear. Just imagine for a second, what incredible things could you build, create, and experience if you were finally running on sufficiency? Take a deep breath, try one of those somatic hacks today, and start showing your body that it's finally safe to thrive.
If this message found you at the exact right time, and if something inside you has been asking bigger questions lately about who you are and what you are here to learn, I left a personalized numerology experience waiting for you. If you feel a genuine calling to understand your design, head on over to my channel profile or description and claim your free insight report today. Like, share, comment, subscribe, and follow for more angel number insights, spiritual mindset upgrades, and manifestation wisdom. Thanks for supporting and watching. Have a great day.